Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 8 of this SMA GT500 Championship. This week is the second of 5 races in the 2016 Group 2 cars, where we've already seen a little shift in difference between the manufacturers from their 2008 counterparts. But in saying that, it was Levitius who won last week's Japanese affair at Suzuka, making it 4 wins in a row and 5 overall in this championship. However, Team VSR came to the fore with some excellent performances as we saw 2 new drivers onto the podium and provided us an early indication that the tide is starting to turn, showcasing Honda's renewed performance for the second half of this season. But once again, upstaged by, of course, Levitius with that perfect performance to extend his lead at the top of the standings. Will anyone be able to stop him in his tracks? I guess we'll find out shortly. I'm your main host, Flawed Genius Gaming, and it is firstly time to introduce my other half, my commentary double, but with that strong tartan voice of his. Of course, I'm alluding to Hugh Hatrick. Good evening to you, Hugh, and how have you been?
Hello, Sean, and hello to everyone watching. I'm very well, thanks. I had just turned 50 there on Thursday and had a lovely party. So yes, I know I've had a very, very busy weekend, but a lovely weekend. Been really, really good. And yes, raring to go, fighting fit. And yes, 50 seems to be absolutely fine. I am maybe even better than 49. But with that tartan voice of mine, I should have had a pipe band piping me in there, Sean, and we'll have to do that for next time. But yes, thoroughly looking forward to the race tonight. It's going to be very exciting. I've been watching the tyre wear, so I've got more to say on that a bit later on. But yeah, it's going to be a great race. It's turning out to be a fantastic championship. So very excited to see who is going to perform tonight, and will we get new faces on the podium? We'll have to see. But yes, Sean, I'm doing well.
Oh, great to hear. Great to hear. Yeah, hitting that big 5-0 can be a scary thing, Hugh, but it looks like you're taking it in your stride, which is lovely to hear. And yeah, we'll definitely sort out them bagpipes for next week. But before we get into today's proceedings, it is important that we do shout out our sponsors. I'm on the wrong scene, I do believe. 1 second. There we go. Yes, it's important to shout out our sponsors for this season. Without them, none of these races would be possible. SMA is sponsored by Simulator Cave, the haven for all your high-end sim goodies, your number one place for all your sim racing requirements. Link is actually in the description below, so go on to their website, simulatorcave.com, for all your simulator needs. And also, we are sponsored by TGSE Cape Town Golf Academy, the hotbed of nurturing talented golfing students to reach their full potential, and proudly associated with MSA Motorsports South Africa, partnered by the FIA, the only place for official leagues in South Africa. So I guess it's time to find out what's in store for round 8 tonight. Hugh, what will the drivers be faced with today?
Well, can you believe it? It is already round 8 of our 12-week season in the SMA GT500 Championship, and we are in America for a visit to Trial Mountain, a very famous circuit, one that Gran Turismo have had for many years, but it's had a lot of changes. The chicanes at the end of the track were introduced, but it's a great track actually, and very popular among GT7 drivers. Now, it is set in the mountains in Sierra Nevada, so the next time you're in America, head out to Sierra Nevada and you might actually find the road that it's on, and it's almost 4 kilometers long, and it has several blind corners and 3 tunnels. When I found out it had 3 tunnels, I was thinking, where are those 3 tunnels? I could remember 2 of them, but then I realized it did have 3. So yes, 3 very good tunnels, and crucially, it's going to be all about getting the exits onto the long streets. That's going to make a huge difference. 15 corners, and it's going to be on some very challenging, especially on the back straight, the hairpin at the end. It's very easy to carry too much speed into there and go wide. And our settings tonight, we have a qualifying session of 10 minutes, and then we have 30 laps. And our fuel consumption rate is ×4, and our tyre wear is ×3. So a bit more fuel consumption tonight, so that's going to be definitely an issue. We've got a grid start with a false start check, and you have to use the hards and the mediums. But rumour is nobody's going to use the softs in the race. But is that simply rumours? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But no, this race is going to be will Leviticus drive away as he's done a little bit in the past, or will there be other challenges ready to take that victory? We're certainly going to find out. But yes, back to you, Sean. It's going to be a great race.
And also a quick reminder of the cars as well, Hugh.
Of course, it's the 2016 cars. We've got the Lexus, and we've got the Honda, and we've got the Nissan Nismo GTR 16. And the Honda is supposed to be the meta car, but Leviticus is showing that the Nismo can beat it. So we'll have to see how they get on. But I'm sure that there will be some great overtakes, some great manoeuvres, and of course that grid start that will hopefully shake things up tonight. So how did the racers get on in the last round at Suzuka?
Yeah, good question. So, the story of round 7 at Suzuka saw Leviticus record another emphatic victory to claim 4 wins in a row and his 5th win in total. But the main headline from this race was the emergence of Team VSR. Drivers in Wolfie, Fish, JDJ and Gallara in that Honda-powered NSX securing a P2, 3, 4 and 5, showing that they really mean business in the second half of the season. They were followed by Nissan driver Tiernar Diki in 6th position, the first time he had finished outside of a podium this season, and the last of the VSR drivers, Richard, finishing just behind in 7th, who had also picked the GTR ahead of this championship. You can sense a bit of a theme going on here, I think, as in 8th and 9th position are also Nissan drivers in Tiernar Whipperman and MGR Kennels respectively. Then in 10th it is the first of the Lexus drivers in Puma Racing, Neil. 11th was Tiernar Gilbert, who ironically drives the Honda and breaks that trend. Puma's Mac in 12th for Lexus, and unfortunately it was Tiernar Captain Slow who finished at the back of the pack, as unluckily came out worse in a tangle at the start and was playing catch up from there. Papaya Racer was absent in this race as he was attending his own engagement. I guess we can forgive him just this once, but he'll be taking round 7 as a dropped result. So this means the standings after 7 rounds sees Leviticus extend his lead to 28 points ahead of second place teammate Diki, who dropped points, but with VSR Richard not able to capitalise as he finished behind Diki for 7th position, and Papaya Racer missing the race, still in 4th at this stage. It means VSR drivers Wolfie, JDJ, Gallara and Fish are now closing in on that top 4, providing that excitement towards the back end of the season. They are 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th currently. Then it's Puma's Neil in 9th, 4 points in front of teammate Mac in 10th position. Tiernar Whipperman is 9 points back in 11th. For joint 12th, we have Tiernar drivers Gilbert and Captain Slow on 2,246 points, with MGR Kennels playing catch up 11 points further back in 14th position. With 5 races to go, it's still all to play for. So we wish the drivers the best of luck in the mountain of speed. Over to you, Hugh.
Yes, Well, I've been watching the practice here, and these cars are absolutely flying. Levitius is in second place at the moment, just doing the practice, but they're doing some really quick laps indeed, with the fact that it's only just over half a second between first and second with VSR. Richard using the racing softs to get them out of the way, so I think we'll see them being used again in qualifying. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see how these drivers get on tonight. I think that Honda could be really, really good. So qualifying is going to be crucial. We need to get this, let's say, all mixed up a little bit to see who can take on Levitius. But once again, he's in that Nissan and proving to be very, very quick, although I've just seen him scrape the ball a little bit on that last corner. But maybe that makes him go a little bit faster. But no, it's such a great circuit. And look at the weather. It's a bit cloudy and overcast. Are we going to see changing weather tonight, Sean? Do you think that might happen?
Probably not. It doesn't tend to rain at Trial Mountain, unfortunately. It does hint at some rain, but it's being high up in the mountains. You get a lot of that cloud cover. It gets a little bit misty and murky, but it never seems to rain. So I don't know. There must be something in the hills, Hugh. I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting today because, of course, the last round we saw the emergence of the VSR drivers using that Honda NSX, and a pattern that we kind of noticed that they weren't so strong in the qualifying, but the race really came to them with the superior tyre management, isn't it? Tyre management. So they're able to sort of eke out a little bit more pace out of them tyres, get a few more laps in the duration of them tyres, and and that's why we saw the likes of Fish, who finished in third position last week, and Wolfie as well, who claimed his best result in second position as I try and find him. But I think he's in the pits at the moment, just having his last cup of tea and wee break, I think. But yeah, certainly, we're expecting VSR. Particularly the likes of JDJ, as mentioned in chat there, JDJ Galara, Fish, of course. In that Honda, we're expecting them to be rather strong in this second half of the season. Little bit unfortunate for VSR Richard though, as he picked the GTR. Still a good car, but hopefully last week's results don't reflect on how the second half of the season will go for the likes of Richard. But it's certainly going to be interesting. Trial Mountain is definitely one of my favourite circuits on the calendar, as we see a nice little slide and donut from Fish there. I'm sure he's probably watching the stream, showing off. But yeah, no, it's definitely one of my favourite circuits. There's going to be overtakes aplenty because you've got two long straights. You're going to see the power of the GTR with its superior top speed. The NSX tends to be better in the corners, better on the brakes, but GTR definitely has that acceleration out of the corners. Lexus, we will remain to see how they get on. I feel like the Lexus drivers are struggling to kind of keep pace in that 2016 car, but anything can happen, especially with 30 laps at Trial Mountain. But just a quick look on chat as well. Thank you so much for all of you tuning in. Good to see you all. We got Schaefer, Kennels, of course, in this race. Good luck to you, Kennels. We've got a few supporters of JDJ. I think JDJ himself might be in there as well. JDJ's steering wheel is not working. Oh my God, that's not a good sign. Not a good sign. Hopefully he's able to rectify that and get involved. But yeah, that's not a good sign at all. And
just rejoined, so hopefully maybe he's back.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. It'll be a shame not to have JDJ in this race. I did hear that he was actually very strong at this location, so it'll be a big shame if we can't get him involved in this race. And also as well, Salim as well, welcome, and saying let's go TNR. Yeah, we've got some supporters of TNR, but yes, We have got this qualifying session just about to start. It's a 10-minute qualifying session ahead of a 30-lap race here at Trial Mountain. It looks like we are starting in the early hours of the morning then. So the track conditions are going to be a little bit cold and they're going to have to warm up them tyres. But luckily, and I do need to get the info on. I completely forgot about that. There we go. Yeah, the track conditions are definitely going to be very cold out there. They're going to have to warm up the tyres, but of course they're using the soft tyres, so it shouldn't take too long. As we just see Gilbert spin round, and I don't know if that's a commentator's curse, Hugh, but yeah, put one into the wall right at the start, and that was evidence of the tyres being cold.
Yes. Even on these soft tyres, when it's the dawn, the track is still very cold. But he's back out there and having another go, and they're all, of course, using the soft tyres to get the most out of it. What was quite interesting is that it didn't last at all long. Looking at the practice, but when they're here in qualifying, it will be just enough. They might be able to get maybe 2 or 3 laps out of it, but it's still in good condition and to get them a good lap. But certainly in the race, those mediums look pretty good and the hards look like they were lasting very well, but will they be too slow and very, very slippery? It's going to be very interesting because we've seen so many different strategies. Some people trying to do a short strategy, coming in quite early, and then others coming in a bit later on and trying to make those mediums last. But a pit stop here again is quite long, so I think you want to kind of minimise how many pit stops you have to make. But yeah, looking forward to these strategies that we see and who is going to come out on top. And will there be any excitement at the start? Will there be some surprises coming through the field with the grid start that we have here for these great Group 2 cars? But no, very excited, and we've just got 8 minutes to go in this qualifying session, and we'll see who comes out on top.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I'm going to stay on board with Gallara at the moment. Is going through what is nicknamed the Rockies as we go through the archway onto the left-hander and through this very, very long tunnel, and we are at pretty much the summit of the mountain. It has to be said, and I have been told that the wind does change at different points of the circuit. Particularly at the top of the mountain as well, tends to be stronger winds. In fact, do you know what? I reckon this is the summit because it goes slightly uphill again before a downhill section here. As we come up to the hairpin, we nicknamed that Nessie. And the reason why we nickname it Nessie is because sometimes at midnight you do see the Loch Ness monster pop his head above the lake if you search hard enough. So, yeah, coming around the final corner and a little bit snappy on the exit there. Just managed to recompose and set a 1 minute 36.9 for Gallara. Richard comes along with a 1 minute 35.9 in that Nissan GTR, of course. Levitius comes across the line on pole position with a 1 minute 35.8, followed by Wolfie as well up into P3 with a 136.1. And Papaya Racer promoted up into 4th position as well, temporarily, because Deacon replaces him into 4th position, just nearly 3/10 off of the pole sitter, that is Levitius. But yeah, they're coming in thick and fast. And any surprises up and down the grid, Hugh?
Well, Levitius is just under a 10th ahead of everyone else, of VSR and Richard, but I'm looking through the field. I did see Neil set a time, but he was in the 137s. So he's got a little bit of work to do to get up there. But at the moment, even in the first 10, there's only 1.1 seconds between first and 9th. So that's not too bad. And of course, that's their first proper qualifying lap. They've still got a good bit to go. And we'll see, because they've got obviously full tanks of fuel. The fuel is running down, but they're on those soft tyres, so they're trying to make the most of it. But at the moment, that was a pretty impressive first lap of qualifying for our drivers tonight. It's great to see Richard right up there, because remember, Richard was saying that he was struggling a bit in qualifying, but he's up there in 2nd place just now. So can he stay up there, and can he even go even faster. And we've got Vars Vartavis in 7th, but VSR JDG, even with a malfunctioning steering wheel, is in 3rd place. So it's great to see them all trying their hardest, and I'm sure it's going to get even closer. In fact, we're looking at between 9th and 10th is just 0.087 between Puma Racing Neil and Wibberman. So it's all happening throughout the field, and we will see who is going to improve if they can. The sun is coming out. It looks like the track is certainly a lot brighter than it was. Will that mean it will be a bit faster? Let's see how they do as they come across for their 2nd qualifying lap.
Indeed, yes. We did see one driver move up then. It was briefly Galara Bryn, but he has been beaten and taken down a peg, it seems. But it is very close at the moment, though. We are just talking about half a second separating the top 7 positions. I did see another driver come across the line. That was Gilbert, I think. So he has set a personal best of a 1 minute 36.8. He will be in P11 at the moment. But yes, we have got 4 minutes left of this qualifying session. Oh my God, he goes very squirrely out of the exit there. I do suspect that some of the drivers will be coming in to get on to some new tyres for the last stint of qualifying. But yeah, so far, as Hugh mentioned, Levitius has a 10th of a lead over VSR Richard, who has already made his pit stop. So he is currently on his out lap with Deaky in P3 at the moment, 1.5 tenths down in 3rd position, who dives into the pits for some new tyres. So it's looking like, well, I'm going to try and find a driver closest to the line. It may well be this pack here. So it's VSR Richard who's going to be the first one to come across the line now. So VSR Richard currently in P2 at the moment. And oh no, sorry, he's on the outlet. My apologies. My apologies there. Got excited over nothing. So yeah, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, there's nothing in it at all. Nothing in it at all. We have got a train of cars here with VSR Richard and Fish. I've been told to say now. So I'll be told off if I don't say Fish. So yeah, he's currently in 9th position. But what you might see here is, because they're both VSR drivers, you might actually see them working in tandem to actually try to get a boosted bit of speed down the straight and maybe shave off a few more tenths off of their lap times, perhaps. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I didn't see that bump draft there, so but Vars definitely would have picked up that extra speed down the straight, though. So but yeah, welcome in everyone that's coming in. Good evening to you, Double DP. Good evening to you, is it Cross, and of course Robin as well. He doesn't like me to shout him out, but he is one of the main reasons why we even have SMA. So big thank you to Robin, of course. But hopefully your race went well and you got the optimal result, which is of course the race win in Tier 2. But let us know how any of you guys got on in your races as well. We love to hear all the news as Fish comes across the line in 7th position, then improves by 0.3 of a second. So good progress from Fish, but yes, at the moment no one beating Levitius. Then I think Levitius will have enough time to try to better his current best. But for most of the drivers, this will be their last lap. So currently Deaky is in P3. Richard looks like he's satisfied with his qualifying session, who's currently in P2 as Deaky goes purple through sector 1. Then we've got JDJ in 4th position. Oh, I don't know, it's going to be touch and go whether or not he's going to make it, actually, with the 30-second cooldown after the allotted 10-minute qualifying time. So I'm not 100% sure if he will definitely cross the line or not. But we got Papaya Racer down in 6th position, but you can see how tight it is. 6 positions covering just under 0.3 of a second. Very, very tight indeed. Fish is getting very close to the line actually. But we got Gallara actually about to come across the line now. Can he improve? And not quite. And there is Fish then just coming around the final corner now, coming in P7. Can he improve as well? Doesn't look likely, no. 0.3 down. And Deaky now coming across the checkered line now, and he goes 0.2 quicker up into P2, and Levitius did manage to go quicker and remain on pole position. Maybe that was vital as well because of Deaky going quicker there. But let's have a quick look at the qualifying results, and you can see that Levitius got pole position with a 1 minute 35.611, which was nearly 0.2 of a second quicker than Deaky. So I think it was important Levitius did get that last lap in. VSR Richard gets P3 and will start on the second row, of course. First row for Levitius and Deaky, of course. VSR Richard will be joined by JDJ on the second row. You can see how tight them times are. That is absolutely ridiculous. A 10th between each other. Then VSR Wolfie will start on row 3 with Papaya Racer by his side. I mean, we're talking 100th separating them two. Then on row 4, we got VSR Fish with that 1 minute 36.3, and we are talking about 400th of a second separating them to Gallara, who's going to be starting alongside him. Then it's Puma Racing Neil on row 5 with TNR Whipperman starting alongside him, 10th between them. Row 6 is Gilbert with Captain Slow, both teammates of course, but in separate cars, the Honda versus the GTR, but again 0.03 of a second separating them, with row 7, which will be Kennels in 13th position, and Puma Racing Mac will be starting alongside him in 14th position. So yeah, this is certainly going to be a very interesting race then, Hugh, and the times are very, very close together as well. So there's a lot to play for here. There could be a few surprises along the way. Of course, strategy is going to be very, very important as well. Tyre management especially. Of course, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of strategies they are going to use, whether or not any drivers are going to use the soft tyres. We do predict that maybe they'll stay on the mediums and hards, which are the mandatory tyres for this race. But we will wait and see, basically, because anything can happen in SMA for this round 8 in Tier 1. Welcome in, Parquet. Let's go, he's saying. Good to see you in here, and let's get on board with the drivers. So it's going to be Levitius and Deaky on the front row, with Richard and JDJ just behind on row 2. As we got 5 red lights. Lights are out and away we go as we start round 8 of the SMA GT500 Championship at Trial Mountain, and Levitius looks like he gets a good start, although Deaky looking rather competitive too as he just sneaks in front of Richard, who remains in P3, JDJ in 4th position, Wolfie in P5, Papaya Racer in P6, with a big train of cars behind in Fish in 7th, Gallara in 8th, Gilbert in 9th, with Neil in 10th, and a gaggle of cars behind as it looks like Captain Slow's had a good start and move up into 11th position ahead of Kennels and Whipperman and Puma Racing Matt. But let's go back on board with the leaders, and it looks like Levitius is started off really, really well. He's extended a little bit of a gap to Deaky. The gap is 0.4 of a second, but that is going to come dwindling down, and then you've got VSR Richard and JDJ, and it looks like maybe between JDJ and Wolfie, they are working together down the straights with VSR Fish for protection behind as well. So we've got Papaya Racer down is a P7 then, and Galara in P8. So it's certainly been a topsy-turvy lap one, Hugh, but this is something we always come to expect though.
Yes, I've been looking at the cars towards from 6 backwards, and certainly it's been very, very close. There's a big train of vehicles at the moment. They're all trying to see if they can get up a place or watch out that they don't lose a place. In fact, we've got, I think that was Joubert and Puma Racing Neil having a good battle there, and we've got Joubert right behind Galara. In fact, he's trying to see if...
So, yeah, I was just about to say VSR Richard and JDJ were very, very close together. Did see them side by side in the background as well, but it looks like JDJ is going to let Richard through then into P3. But Hugh, it'll be interesting to know what tyres the drivers have decided to start on, so that we can kind of like work out their strategies and see where the drivers should be in positions right now.
Certainly. Let's have a look and see what they are on. Because obviously we've got the medium and we've got the hards, and I'm just getting that detail for you. So I'll let you just carry on for a wee sec, Sean, until I get those details. Sorry, it'll take me a few seconds.
Okay, well, I've just seen that Puma Racing Neil is starting on the hard tyres with Whipperman also on the hard tyres and Puma Racing Max. So everybody else is on the medium tyres except them 3 drivers. So it looks like they are, well, it remains to be seen actually, because in my testing I felt that you really didn't stay on the hards too long and did most of your laps on the mediums, but they may have other ideas, as you know, everyone's got a difference of opinion, of course, and who knows whether or not going longer on the hards actually is more, what's the word, like a better, a better strategy, a better strategy, let's just say. But go on.
Because that's the racing Neil is using. He is on the racing hards, back in 11th place, and so he has chosen to go on to the racing hards, but pretty much everyone else is using the mediums.
Right, okay, interesting.
On the hards as well, but he's further down the field. But then that tyre hardly has any use at all in it, in terms of it's got a very, very good wear rate. Oh, Kennels went wide there, going into the first tunnel. He went very wide, and Whipperman is right behind him up there in 13th place. And he's got a penalty of 1 second.
What position is that, Hugh?
That was for 12th and 13th. Kennels has got a penalty. He ran wide going into the tunnel, and Whipperman in 13th is now catching up and is right. Oh, yeah, is right behind him. Oh no, I say that there. It looks like Racing Matt Kennels has crashed. He's gone off. He's lost the place, and now Whipperman has taken 12th place.
Yeah, I just getting on board with a replay with Kennels now. He went wide as he approached the tunnel, picked up a 1 second penalty as well, and of course he would have had dirty tyres as from that moment going over the grass. So yeah, it was unfortunate, I guess. I do wonder why he's just pulled over though. That was interesting.
And at the front, Levitius is only 3/10 ahead of Deacon. That battle is really hotting up between the two of them. And then VSR Richard is not far behind in 3rd place. So it's all to play for.
Deaky's gone! Deaky's gone! And it looks like he didn't get the traction down out of the last turn. And let's get a replay of that. So Deaky was approaching the final 2 turns onto the last turn. Oh, and he tried to save it, he couldn't, and oh my god, there's a gaggle of cars trying to get past him. Very fortunate they didn't crash into him, but of course that has given him front aero damage and front left aero damage to boot. So absolute disaster for Deaky then, and it remains to be seen whether or not he's going to pit early to fix that damage, or he's just going to carry on with his race and be it damage limitation for him. We'll have to wait and see, but certainly something that he won't be happy with is the fact that he's lost 9 positions to be in 11th now, and with it all to do.
And it's very close at the front. From 2nd, 3rd and 4th, there's a real train of cars with next to nothing in it. You've got the 3 Hondas there. Oh, sorry, the Nissan at the front, then the 2 Hondas, and they're absolutely going at it to see if they can catch up, because Levitius is only a second ahead. You can see now with that Nissan in 2nd place and the 2 Hondas, they're definitely better in the final sector. They're catching all the time. They've taken about 4 tenths out of Levitius just in that sector alone as they come to complete lap 4, going on to lap 5. So by no means has Levitius got it all his own way. The Nissan of Richard and the Hondas of VSR, JDJ and Wolfie are keeping right up there.
Yes, indeed, yeah, and this is obviously the plan for the Honda drivers, is just to stay in that tow of Levitius. Of course, the GTR very fast in a straight line, so he will have the overspeed. I don't know whether or not the NSX has actually got more raw power, as in a better top end speed, but I do know that the GTR is much better in acceleration, particularly in the slower corners. So yeah, we will see if Levitius can peel away or not, but they are in slipstream range, so you will see that gap come tumbling down, and you'll see the lights of VSR Richard getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, that gap has come down to nearly a half a second, and it looks like the VSR drivers are working in tow to make life as difficult as possible for Levitius. But any action going on behind that, Hugh?
I'm looking at Papaya Racer is just 4 tenths ahead of Gallara Brown. In fact, it's shrinking as I say it. There's a train of cars between 5th, 6th and 7th, and they're all battling away, trying to stay in the slipstream as they come down into the last chicane, and then to come in through the chicane. There they go. Yeah, there's virtually nothing in it between Papaya Racer and Gallara and Vartavis as they come to complete lap 5. So we've got a Nissan there, we've got a Honda and 2 Hondas there. As they cross the line, there was just a couple, in fact, just half a second in it. So that's one of the closer battles as we go down the field. Also, Captain Slow is just 8 tenths ahead of Puma Racing Neo in the Lexus, making a cracking run in the Lexus there. But he's just under, in fact, just 6 tenths now behind Captain Slow. And Deacon is in 10th place, but will he catch up? Will he be able to overtake? We'll have to wait and see. But Captain Slow is just managing to keep. Oh, Pure Racing Neil's got up. He's gone wide. He's got a
position?
penalty. In 9th.
9th.
He's got a half-second penalty, so he must have just gone wide on one of the corners before the tunnel there. And now he's just 1.8 seconds ahead of Deacon. But a half a second penalty here will make quite a difference. Normally it's almost a second by the time it's all done. So will Deacon be able to catch up, even though he's got a bit of damage? But we'll have to wait and see. I'm looking through the field. Let's see.
Well, I'm gonna stay on board with the top 4, because that gap is still at half a second, and Levitius is certainly under all types of pressure here on lap 6 of 30, and it does look like VSR team are working together with Richard JDJ and Wolfie in close proximity of each other. So it's yeah, certainly going to be interesting. Are they going to be pushing each other down the straights to try and catch up with Levitius? The gap is still 7.5 tenths. So yeah, it's certainly a very, very intense and close start between the top drivers. I've just been told that Robin has just said that Neil's on the hards, of course, so obviously got that less grip, and of course I've tried them hard tyres. They are very, very slippery. As Levitius has a little bit of a moment just in front as he goes a bit squirrely on the exit, but certainly he is going to come under all types of pressure now, because if Richard gets a good exit, which he does, and being in the same car as well, in the GTR, that gap is going to come dwindling down. But is JDJ's not close enough to Richard, so Richard is starting to close that gap to Levitius, and he really closes up to the back bumper of Levitius now. So Levitius, will he fear Richard at this stage? Will he succumb to that pressure? I don't know. Levitius normally is cool, calm and collected, and of course is the leader in this championship as well. So Levitius probably hasn't been under this intense pressure all season, so it remains to be seen whether or not he can hold his nerve and keep in front of Richard. But looking at the tyre delta, and you can see that Richard has got a smidgen less grip than Levitius. There's JDJ in Richard's mirrors, and yes, he is pushing him along. So there's definitely a team game going on here to hopefully not let Levitius slip through their fingers. So, but yeah, JDJ, yeah, very, very close to the back of Richard. He goes alongside him. It'd be interesting. Yeah, actually, he did lift. He did lift, so that is the wise thing to do. Wolfie just behind as well, so definitely if JDJ makes a mistake, or Wolfie, sorry, if JDJ makes a mistake, there'll be Wolfie to try and help along. But Papaya Racer, though, not too far behind either in 5th position. We have got Galara as well, 6 tenths behind him in 6th, and Fish as well, 3.5 tenths behind in 7th as well. Then we have got that gap, but it looks like Captain Slow has made up a few positions though to move up into 8th position. And then you've got Neil, who is in 9th position. He's already got onto their medium tyres as well, so something we did miss out on there, Hugh. But yeah, Gilbert on hard tyres, which I'm not 100% sure. Has he made a... No, he hasn't made a pit stop. So yeah, Whipperman gets a very, very good exit out of the corner, of course, on them superior tyres, and he will slingshot his way past Gilbert to move up into 10th position. But down the hill, Gilbert is going to have that slipstream. So will Gilbert slingshot his way past him? No, he will tuck in behind Whipperman and try to stay to the back of him to maybe fight to live another day. Deaky is down into 12th position. Looks like he's already made his pit stop and fixed that damage on his car, with Mac 13 seconds behind, the Kennels in the pit lane as well with a penalty to boot. So back on board with the leaders, but Hugh, if you could keep an eye on the grid behind to see if there's any other battles going on, and we will come to you when appropriate.
Certainly. Yes, it's very close. There hasn't been that much of a field spread. I did hear that poor old Kennels has a back injury, and that's what's hurting him today, and I think he may well be out of the race. I know he's been in the pits for a little while, and we've also got news that his wheel started bugging a little while ago, so I think that's what's caused the issues there and why he is in the pits. But no, it's very close. Look at the from 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and then there's another group just behind. It's very, very close indeed. They're all keeping in it, definitely pushing each other on, trying to get slipstream down these back straights. Oh, but between Galara Brown and Vars Vartavis, there's really nothing in that at all. But it's all happening, and it's great to see that the cars are right there. The strategy's already playing out. People in the pits changing, getting rid of hard tyres, going on to mediums, and also putting more fuel in the car as well. We've seen that quite a bit. So all to play for as we're on lap 9 of 30.
Yes, indeed. And what we're starting to see as well is the gaps between the drivers actually closing in now. So Galava is only 1.5 seconds behind Papaya Racer, who is only 2 tenths down on Wolfie. So Papaya Racer is now slung into this top 5 fight, but yeah, Galara 1.7 seconds behind. If he can push that little bit more, maybe Fish just behind him, if he can push him on, maybe they can start duking it out with the top 5, make it a top 7 fight out in this race. But certainly very, very close, just 3.6 seconds separating the top 7 drivers. So we will have a look on this train now, because they're coming down the straight, and we'll see if JDJ can push Richard on. It's very interesting because this is a single driver championship. However, we know how passionate the teams are, and they're looking to help each other out. But of course, as the race gets further and further along the way, Will we see some fights for positions as Richard skims the wall, just about gets away with it, but still able to keep that pressure to Levitius, where it is still just half a second. So this is absolutely fascinating to see. Hugh, very, very consistent on the times between all the drivers in the top 7, and this time around Levitius not able to rest on these laurels, and he really has to keep it nailed on to hold on to that race lead.
Certainly, and as I've been looking down the field, Galara Brown just lost a place to Vartavis. He got up into 6th place and is now trying to catch Papaya Racer in 5th. But as you see, the top 7 are just covered by 3.8 seconds, which is really next to nothing after 11 laps into this race. The Honda's proving that they can certainly keep up with the Nissans and putting the pressure on. And Captain Slow is roughly 10 or 11 seconds, just under 11 seconds in 8th place, but I think he's been into the pits already. But so it's very, very quick, and it's the concentration to be able to keep riding behind another driver all the way through a lap after lap. Is very impressive, because it's very easy to follow somebody else off and have an accident just because somebody else did. And you don't want to be pirouetting off if you don't need to. But there they are. There is Galara Brown in 7th place. He's keeping up with Vartavis, but they're still just 3.7. In fact, they're closing up as they go down the straight. So that Honda's definitely is managing to do pretty well on those back straights. In fact, it's now just 3.4 to the leader. So Levitius must have lost a little bit of time. In fact, he's just 0.3 ahead of Richard. They're really putting on the pressure in the final sector here as they come over the hill and down the hill into the left-hander. They're hounding him out in that Nissan GTR. The Hondas are howling like wolves as they come into the final chicane. It's a great race to watch here. It's just now it's up to 7/10, so they seem to be able to just pull away a little bit, and then as they come into the chicane, they close right up onto Levitius, the heels of Levitius, as they start to complete another lap. It's lap 11 is now going into lap 12, and there you go. The first 6 cars are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But you can see them all on the start-finish straight. There's nothing in it at all, and we're only just a third of the way through, Sean.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, good point, Robin. So bump drafting isn't allowed. I was getting a little bit confused with my other league that I do commentary on. So thank you for the update there, Robin. So no bump drafting allowed. So the only way that they can help each other is to kind of slingshot their way past the car in front using the toe in front of them, and then the driver behind to then tuck back into that slipstream to hope that they can slingshot their way through as well. Can be done. It does make it a little bit more difficult, but it can be done. But yeah, certainly that is a rule in the SMA. No bump drafting allowed. So thank you, Robin. But yeah, really sorry to hear about Kennels though with his wheel. I've had my fair share of problems. This is Galara going up the inside of Fish then to move up into 6th position. They'll be trying to work together, I think, to try to catch up to the likes of Papaya Racer, who is 1.7 seconds ahead of him in P5. But yeah, very, very close between the top 4 drivers. Certainly, as one of the drivers does come in, that is Richard then on 8% of fuel on lap 12. It looks like a Papaya Racer comes in, Galara and Vartavis as well. So not too much fuel saving from them drivers. And yeah, just managing to get 12 laps on them medium tyres as well. So Levitius is going one further. Now he's got a 1 second lead over JDJ. So JDJ will be hoping to start pushing on this lap. And I think he's got enough fuel to do it as well, with VSR Wolfie just behind him in 3rd position. But it looks like Richard will be the first one to come out of the drivers that have made their pit stops, with Papaya Racer coming out in quick succession. Vartavis or Fish has come out on the hard tyres as opposed to the medium tyres from Richard and Papaya Racer. Galara's on the soft tyres. Now, this is something we didn't predict. We didn't think anyone was going to go on the soft tyres. Galara's made that move. We're going to have to see how that works out for him. It looks like Whipperman and Neil side by side. And it's it. Whipperman that gets in front. No, it's Neil that gets in front of Whipperman. Let's have a look on that replay and just see exactly what happened there. So it was Neil that was just in front of Whipperman. Whipperman tried to challenge him then going into the tunnel down the inside. It was a late lunge down the inside. There was a tiny bit of contact, but Neil had the inside line for the next turn and managed to hold on to that 8th position. So, but now it's roles reversed because Whipperman has made the move on Neil and looks like he's going to stay in front of him to move back up into P8. Let's have a look on the replay and see how that move was performed. But I think it was down the straight, wasn't it? So it was Lexus versus the GTR, and the GTR wins there. So Whipperman up into P8.
It's fantastic to see how this is all playing out. Levitius is now with a 2.7 second lead, but JDJ and Wolfie, of course, have been in the pits. So as we look at things at the moment, of course, Levitius has managed to fuel save rather well, although he's going to have to come in any time now. But he's got 24 seconds. Now, how long do you think a pit stop will take here? Sean, I imagine it will be around about 24 seconds probably. So I think it's going to be very, very close, because VSR Richard, who did his pit stop the lap ago, he will have warmer tyres. His tyres will be ready and ready to go. So can he come out very near to Levitius, or can these laps, they really need to make them count? At the moment, he is just 3 seconds behind Wolfie in 3rd place, and he's just 1.5 seconds ahead of Papaya Racer in 5th. I think it was Papaya Racer who's also on the mediums. And let's have a look. We've got Galara Brown, who is on the softs, and already there's a tiny bit of wear on those softs, but he's done a lap or two, but he's got plenty of fuel, so maybe he might just be able to pull a cracker of a strategy and catch up and get into the field ahead. But it's very close, and Levitius now comes into the pits. Over to you, Sean.
Thank you, Hugh. Yes, Levitius just comes into the pits now, so we're on board with JDJ. We'll see if JDJ has made the perfect undercut or not. Levitius is going to be interesting to see how much fuel he puts on board, because he had 0% of fuel going into the pit lane. So JDJ just coming through the final turn of the lap then, with Wolfie firmly behind him as well in 3rd position. There's Levitius getting released now. It looks like JDJ is going to become the new race leader of the race, with Levitius getting released out on circuit in 3rd position then, because Wolfie comes sailing through as well into 2nd position. So, but looking at things though, JDJ with half a tank of fuel, Wolfie with just over half a tank of fuel, both on the hard tyres. Levitius is on the medium tyres, but with a full tank of fuel. So there is definitely a difference in strategy going on here, and of course JDJ and Wolfie may be losing a little bit of time on them hard tyres, but of course they've got less fuel, so the car will be lighter, so in some respects they are going to be quicker, perhaps down the straight as well, as well as them two being in the tow of each other. So if they work together, not bum drafting, but work together, then maybe they can extend that lead over Levitius. But also Levitius has got the pressure from VSR Richard from behind, just 3.5 tenths behind on the medium tyres as well. So he's on the softer of the compounds, so he should be faster. Oh, sorry, Levitius on the mediums, isn't he? My apologies. So no, they'll be line astern then, but Levitius has got more fuel in the tank than Richard, so maybe Richard will be a little bit quicker at this stage of the race, but he has got a certain Papaya Racer just behind him as well, also on the medium tyres and with 3/4 of a tank as well. So yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one, and Galara Bryn as well, not too far behind. 1.6 seconds is the gap between Papaya Racer and Galara Bryn for 5 and 6 respectively, and then Fast to Fish, or Fish, quite a bit further behind, of course, Galara on the soft tyres, so you would expecting to start coming into the fight for the top 5 in the next couple of laps or so. But certainly a very, very interesting race, very difficult one to call here. You know, at the moment we can maybe call the positions provisional, maybe in the sort of last stint of the race, maybe we'll have a better indication as Papaya Racer smacks the wall on the outside. Lucky not to pick up damage. Maybe that was netcode, I don't know, but that's how it looked like from our perspective. Don't want to be skimming them. Well, it weren't even a skim, it was quite a clang against the tunnel wall there. But yeah, he's currently half a second down on VSR Richard as he gets deep on the brakes. And actually that was a very, very good corner from Papaya Racer, and actually does close that gap by about a tenth. But there is Levitius then all over the back bumper, and Wolfie then of course on the medium. Oh my god, there was nearly contact between Levitius. I thought there was going to be a big shunt, but just managed to get on the brakes in time and maybe steer out the way as well. So it does look like Levitius has got more grip and definitely more pace on their medium tyres compared to the hard runners of Wolfie and JDJ, and the gap is currently just under a second between the top three, and you could call it 1.1 seconds between the top four and 1.2 seconds between the top five. So so close, and I really can't call this, Hugh.
It's incredibly close. I think the strategy is going to be absolutely crucial because Levitius has more fuel, so he can maybe have a slightly shorter stop. I think we're going to have to see the Hondas do a quick splash and dash and then get back onto those medium tyres, or maybe they'll put on the soft tyres for the last few laps of the race. It's all nip and tuck because we might find that I think Levitius, well, he's got a full tank of fuel, but will he go the whole race, the rest of the race on those mediums? Do you think they'll stretch another 13 laps? Maybe it's possible, but I wonder. Certainly, I think they maybe will have to come in into the pits potentially, because his tyres could really be finished in the next 10 laps or so. But yes, the Hondas and the Nissan, look, there's absolutely nothing in it for the first four. They're absolutely covered by barely a second. And look at that, it won't be on Levitius, they're challenging, and Levitius goes through to second place. So we've got JDG in first, Levitius now up into second, then Wolfie in third, and Papaya Racer in fourth place, and Papaya Racer is challenging Wolfie as well. There's virtually nothing, and he gets through.
He gets through down the inside of Wolfie as well. I was about to show a replay there, but that was a sneaky move from Papaya Racer to move up into P3, with Wolfie trying to send it on the inside of Papaya Racer. Oh my god, there is contact again, and we may need to have a look at that because we didn't get the correct view of what happened there. So there was Wolfie on the inside, there's Papaya Racer on the outside. As we go into the final turn, Wolfie goes very deep, and it looks like there was contact between him and Papaya Racer, and I don't think Papaya Racer is going to be happy with that one.
Yes, it was very close there. They're all trying to get past each other when you've got a stream of cars like that. So we'll have to have a look at that and see what happens, and also get the two viewpoints from the drivers to see what exactly caused it and what happened. But as you see there, Papaya Racer is in fifth place, but VSR JDG is still holding off Levitius by a fraction. Oh, look at that as they go onto the back straight. They are virtually neck and neck with Levitius. Oh, just edging ahead as they go under the tunnel and down the hill. But JDG is trying to get in that slipstream again so that they can't go far ahead, and he's battling. He pulls out, and the bottom hairpin comes going to try and go round the outside, but Levitius has it. He's got it in first place. So now Levitius is back where he was at the start, but JDG is not going to give up. And we've got Gallara Brown also catching as well in third place. But we're going to make sure JDG's got to stay as close as he can to Levitius. He can't let him get down that track ahead of him, otherwise it's going to be all over. But can he stay up, Sean? That's the big question.
Well, the interesting thing as well, Hugh, is that that move from Wolfie on Papaya Racer, it does look like Papaya Racer's got damage from it as well. So that is definitely going to slow him down. But I think what he's thinking here is perhaps he's going to make another stop and then repair the damage there. But there could be a few stewards' inquiries going on after the race, that is for sure. But yeah, that is certainly spread out the grid a little bit now then. So Levitius has got a 1 second lead over JDJ. Of course, Levitius on them medium tyres. But it remains to be seen what he does here. I think he does need to stop one more time and get onto the hard tyres. So roles will be reversed in the final embers of the race. So JDJ just needs to keep it consistent and try to stay as close to Levitius as possible, but of course with the inferior grip we'll be losing probably about a second a lap to Levitius or more, as Gallara looks like he's going to send one down the inside of JDJ. He's on the soft tyres, of course. He's got the superior grip. I thought JDJ was going to go back for the cutback, but decided better of it, so remains in P3. Papaya Racer though moved up into P4 then, so I'm not 100% sure if Wolfie just let him through or Papaya Racer with the medium tyres just having that superior grip and a bit more pace, even though he has got damage and goes a little bit wide as well as VSR. Richard gets a much better exit, closes that gap to Papaya Racer in fourth position to about 0.3 of a second as we come through the final turn. Nicely done from Richard, but Papaya Racer looks like he took that to perfection, and the gap is stayed the same for the time being as Puma Racing Neil comes into the pits from P7 and on the medium tyres, 4% of fuel with Deacon in P9 on them hard tyres. He's going to get rid of them, probably go back onto the medium tyres with 1% of fuel. Whipperman decides to carry on, of course, because he's just made his pit stop on the racing medium tyres and a full tank of fuel. Vartavis or Fish in P11 also already made that pit stop with Gilbert in P12. Puma Racing Mac in P13. Looks like they've all made their pit stop. Ken also in the pits now with a 1 second penalty, so it looks like he's cut track limits unless he has been in the pits for all this time. I think in fact he has, because he's got wheel problems, hasn't he? So Kennels is obviously the first retirement from the race, isn't he? But fair play for sticking around, of course, and he may take this as a dropped round. But Levitius though with a 3 second lead over his nearest rival Gallara then, who is keeping decent pace on what is very worn soft tyres. Them front tyres not looking good. In fact, it's the right hand side not looking fantastic, but certainly the fronts are starting to die on him. Papaya Racer meanwhile though in third position as we see JDJ coming to the pits from P6 then with 8% of fuel, getting rid of them hard tyres, and he'll be coming out on the medium tyres, so he will be looking to fight his way back up the grid, and we'll see where he finishes in the end. But so far it does look like we've got the train of 3 cars between Papaya Racer, Richard and Wolfie fighting it out for the last step on the podium, but certainly Wolfie at the moment, he's run 1, 2, 3, 4 laps on the hards. This will be his 5th lap on the hards, so quite intrigued by this actually. I thought Wolfie would have come in on this lap to get onto them medium tyres, but maybe thinking it's better to have the fresher medium tyres at the end to have that extra pace. We'll have to wait and see, as it looks like Richard and Papaya Racer are side by side. Papaya Racer loses that position to Richard, with Richard having that overspeed and gets into the corner before Papaya Racer to move up into third position. This goes a little bit wide, gets away with it, but Richard is on the last step on the podium now. Papaya Racer will be fighting tooth and nail to try and grab that position away from him, but I have to say Papaya Racer doing a fantastic job in pace with that damage to his to the front aero there, as Papaya Racer goes into the pits now with Gallara Bryn also following him in with VSR Wolfie as well coming in on them hard tyres. So you've got the softs, medium and hard tyre runners. We'll see what tyres they will come out on. I think Gallara may come out on the hards. Papaya Racer, I think he's got to go on the hards. And Wolfie, of course, will go on to the medium tyres. So it does mean that Levitius and Richard are in the top 2 right now. Levitius, though, we know he will have to take the hard tyres towards the end of the race. Richard in second position as well. good position for him, and certainly doing Nissan proud as well, because I know that the GTR, perhaps not the favoured car around Trial Mountain. We are expecting the NSX to be very, very strong around this circuit, but doing an excellent job this time around with TNR Captain Slow moving it up into P3, but he will need to make his pit stop very shortly. VSR JDJ then has been released back on circuit into 4th position, with Galara just behind him in 5th position then, and it's looking like them two are definitely going to work in tow and work together to try and finish as high up as possible. Papaya Racer is released in 6th position as well on the hard tyres, as we know. So Wolfie is behind. Wow, Wolfie's on the soft tyres. Wolfie is on the soft tyres on this last stint for him then.
Pulled a bit of a blinder, and he's got plenty of fuel left. Can he make it to the end?
Well, this is the question, as we got Whipperman up the inside of Neil then. Looks like he's going to make it stick, I think. And we have got a fast approaching Deacon as well for company, who moves up the inside of Whipperman. So goes for the cutback and makes it stick. Let's have a quick look on the replay there. So we had Deacon in the background. So let's get on board with him here. So Whipperman made the move on Neil. There's Deaky now, and I don't think Whipperman saw it coming, but they are teammates, of course. But still, very sneaky from Deaky, and moves up into P9 now, looking to hound down Neil, who is just in front of him, and stays in front of him for the time being, Hugh.
Yes, it's all to play for, isn't it, as they come through the field. And that was a great move by Deacon, who's trying to climb back through the field to get something out of this race. But it's very close again. Levidius is 8.5 seconds in front, but it's all strategy. And I'm thinking he's going to have to surely come in again to put on those racing hard tyres. And if we've got Wolfie in 7th on the softs, but also we've got Richard, who will also have to come in because he's only got less than a quarter of a tank of fuel. It's all going to be how much fuel do they need to finish that race, and will they all just put on the softs to try and be as fast as possible, with the advantage, of course, for Levidius that he has less fuel to put in than the others on his current momentum. He's got over a third of a tank, which is pretty good going, but I think it's suddenly all going to close in these last 3 to 4 laps. We've got about 6 laps left at the moment, or 7 laps left. Levidius passes the line there to start lap 24 with an 8.5 second lead over VSR Richard. But it's all about strategy. I think Levidius has played a blinder again. He's chosen two stints on the medium, which of course is going to be the fastest tyre overall. That's going to be, I think, quite very efficient for this track. And now he can choose what tyre. Well, he has to go on the hard, of course, but less fuel. I think it's going to be very, very close indeed.
Indeed, and we've got Wolfie all over the back bumper of Papaya Racer now, and he's not going to defend it, it looks like then. Thinking better of it, Wolfie. This is going to be dodgy though, going into the turn. You certainly don't want to go too wide, and Papaya Racer does sweep in front of VSR Wolfie. Then Wolfie did back out of it this time and remain in P7, perhaps looking at the bigger picture, as it looks like Papaya Racer goes a little bit deep into the corner, but he's going to have the inside line going into the Rockies, and Wolfie into the wall. And I don't know exactly what happened there, whether or not he was squeezed into the wall or maybe perhaps needing to back out there. But let's have a quick look on board with Wolfie then. No. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry I missed that. Pressed the wrong key. Pressed the wrong key there. But yeah, I guess we'll never know. But luckily for Wolfie though, he has no damage, so they are going to be fighting tooth and nail as they go side by side at the summit then. And Papaya Racer will just stay in front. What position?
In pit P2, Richard's in the wall. He's in the wall. He's got going again, but he's lost a whole load of time. He's now 16.7 seconds, and he's got damage to his front, and he's missed the pit stop. So he's going to have to go all the way around with hardly any fuel. He might manage that, but he's got serious damage. But he's lost about 8 or 9 seconds to Levitius. He just got into the last chicane and spun and hit the wall.
Yeah, I just looked on the replay there, Hugh, and that was a weird moment from Richard, I have to say. I don't know if he had a disconnect of the wheel or something or other, because he took the penultimate corner and then he just went straight. He didn't even attempt to turn. So very, very weird moment. If we can get confirmation from anyone that of what happened to Richard there, because that was a very, very strange moment, I have to say.
So looking at this, JDG is 26 seconds behind Levitius, but Levitius is going to have to make his pit stop. Now, at the moment, JDG is on the racing softs. He's got enough fuel, I reckon, to get to the end of the race. And with this 26 seconds behind Levitius, it's all to play for, because, of course, Levitius will have to put some fuel in to finish the race. So it could well be we might see a change of position if JDG can keep this momentum up. Will he be able to come out ahead of Levitius and take the lead? But it's still happening on the podium. It's a great race so far, and Gallara Brown is just 7 seconds behind in 4th place.
Yeah, and we've got a bit of a fight as well for P7 as well. Deaky looks like is making his charge up the grid, but still only 7 tenths in front as Richard comes into the pits then from P2 with 2% of fuel, of course, with that damage and no fuel and worn tyres as well. Yeah, such a shame from Richard, and yeah, I just wish I knew what happened to him there, because I'm pretty sure that wasn't driver error. I'm pretty sure something happened technically. Yeah, just looking at the chat as well. Yeah, I do agree. Perspective is everything for sure. Yeah, it was just a shame I couldn't get the right on board. I clicked the wrong key to try and get the perspective of the two drivers side by side. But yeah, it does remain to be seen what happened there. But we have seen a couple of incidents, and you know, this is racing. This is racing. This happens, you know, when the stakes are high, when you know, you're battling tooth and nail and battling for position in the late stage. It happens. It happens. So, and I'm sure all will be revealed and sorted out between the stewards and the drivers. So we'll wait and see. But looking up and down the grid, then Levitius then. Levitius is still on them medium tyres then. 25.6 seconds is the gap to JDJ in second. Of course, on them soft tyres really did surprise me, really, for him to go on the soft tyres. I really thought he was going to go on the mediums. We'll see if his soft tyres do last in the final 4 laps of this race. I think it's going to be tight. I do wonder whether or not he'll be able to keep the pace up, but I guess we'll wait and see. We've got Gallara in 3rd position. He's on the hard tyres, so he's gone for the complete different strategy. So it's going to be interesting to see if JDJ's soft tyres get very worn, whether or not the hards can still keep up with the softs or even be quicker. I'm not sure. Wolfie is just 2.2 seconds behind though on them soft tyres as well. He's got the similar predicament to JDJ, so I do suspect that Wolfie may make the move on Gallara for P3 in the final embers of this race. We've got Papaya Racer, of course, with damage. In fact, did he not repair the damage? Because you would have thought when he made his pit stop, you would have thought he would have repaired that damage. Maybe felt that he was going to lose too much time, so decided to not repair the damage and think that, do you know what, I can work with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's in 5th place, and he's just under 2 seconds ahead of VSR Richard in 6th. So yeah, maybe that's been the case. But Levitius is going to have to come in any time now, because he's almost on his last bits of fuel. And JDJ has been taking time, a little bit of time off Levitius. He's down to just 25 seconons.
Yeah, and Levitius in.
Now comes into the pits.
Yeah, Levitius in now. So 25 seconds is the deficit. And if memory serves me correct, last time we said about 24 seconds was the gap, wasn't it? And JDJ came flying past. But Levitius did put more fuel in. So that is going to be interesting. So Levitius now just taking his tyres now. JDJ coming up to the penultimate corner, or the chicane as we know it. Levitius is now going to get released on them hard tyres. 28% of fuel. There's JDJ just coming across the start-finish line now. So Levitius will come out on pole position, or in first position, sorry, with quite a commanding lead, it looks like, but that time is going to come dwindling down with JDJ having that overspeed. But it looks like he's developed a 7.5 second lead over JDJ. But of course, the interesting dynamic now is Levitius is on cold hard tires, JDJ is on pretty worn soft tires. Can JDJ close that gap or not? That is the question. 7 seconds seems a lot of time to try and make up in the last 3 laps of this race. So has Levitius performed the perfect strategy once again, Hugh?
It certainly looks that way. I didn't think he'd have quite a big a lead as he did when he came out of the pits, but 7.5 seconds, and JDG is going to do everything he can to try and close that gap, but now it's up to about 7.5 seconds, so it's nip and tuck. But it looks like Levitius has done a great strategy there and has made it work for him, and he's still ahead in first place, and JDG is going to have to do everything they can to try and close that gap. But there is only 3 laps, including the one that they are on right now, but at least he is well ahead of Wolfie in third place by 11.5 seconds, and then we've got Galara Brown in fourth. But I don't know, anything can happen. Those racing hard tyres are very slippery, and all it takes is one little bit of too much throttle coming out of the corner and it could be all to pay for. In fact, Levitius seems to lose a bit of time in that last sector because JDG's taken half a second off him. Just in that
need to cut in because Deaky and Richard are fighting it out for P5 at the moment as we come up into the chicane now. Deaky hounding down Richard, trying to force a mistake perhaps, but Richard very smooth out of the last corner, but they are bumper to bumper right now as we come across the line to start lap number 29. Richard, I think, is going to defend the inside line. Is Deaky going to have the overspeed and be brave enough to go around the outside? Yes, he does. What a fantastic move for Deaky. Richard had to pull out of that, and that was very, very brave as Richard tries one up the inside again, takes that position away from Deaky, so moves back up into P5, and this is definitely a cat and mouse game as they're undercutting each other here, and Richard just holding off Deaky for the time being as we go through the right-hander. This is going to be followed by the left-hander before the long straight, so you would suggest that Deaky has the upper hand here as he's going to have that slipstream to Richard. Deaky is definitely going to have the overspeed here as we come down the hill now, and there you go, look at the difference of speed. So Deaky will be shown the outside line as they come up to this hairpin now. Can Richard defend? Yes, he can. Deaky couldn't hold it around the outside. Tries the old switcheroo again, though. But he's going to have the outside line. He's being afforded the space. And Richard holds on to P5. But again, Deaky comes fighting back. And he's going to try around the outside. He sweeps in front of Richard and moves up into P5. And what a fantastic move from Deaky. What a fantastic race between the two drivers. And that is how it's done, Hugh. Fantastic racing. Very clean. And very, very exciting to the point that I've lost my voice.
It's great sportsmanship, and even I thought, my goodness, on those corners someone's going to have to give way, but they gave each other space, and although Richard lost that position, but it was a great move by Deacon, and it really shows the quality of the drivers. In fact, it looks like Richard is on fumes there as he comes to start the final lap, lap 30, which has been a phenomenal race so far, with Deacon going up the road, but Levitius still in the lead, followed by JDG, and it's still round about just under 7 seconds, so Levitius is managing to hold on those tyres, and JDG's got hardly any fuel, so he's managed to get the fuel absolutely right for this race, but Levitius has managed to get the strategy right, and he's 7.1 seconds ahead in first place as he starts he's about midway through the last lap. So Sean, I'll give it to you to see exactly what's going to happen. Will he finish in front?
Yeah, well, I will get onto him very shortly. Just keeping an eye on the fight between Wolfie and Galara. It looks like Wolfie is going to hold on to that lead, so we will get on board with Levitius now, because again, it's been a strategy of the gods. And Levitt is coming around the final turn now. He's going to grab his 5th win in a row and 6th overall, and a fantastic victory as he takes the checkered flag. Well done to Levitius, who finishes in front of VSR JDJ for 2nd position. Great result for JDJ, with VSR Wolfie now just behind Galava. They could be side by side as we come across the checkered line, but I think Wolfie is going to hold on to it to finish in P3, and Galara for 4th position. Deacon is going to grab an excellent P5 for him, with VSR Richard finishing behind him in 6th position. Puma Racing Neil will grab, I think, his best performance of the season in 7th. Papaya Racer 8th, just in front of Whipperman in P9. Vartavis or Fish, sorry, top 10. Captain Slow, 11th position for him. Puma Racing Mac looks like he's going to hold on to 12th position then, and yeah, I think he's raised up 2 positions from qualifying then. So 12th position for Mac, and then Jewel Bear is going to come home in 13th position. Of course, Kennels retired quite early on in the pit lane with technical issues with his wheel. But what a fantastic race that was indeed, Hugh. And yeah, can't wait to hear the thoughts of the top 3 drivers. We will get the podium interviews underway as soon as I have read out the classified results from round 8. But yeah, what a race, Hugh. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Oh, incredible. And I realise here that Vartavis has run out of fuel on his rundown lap. So I wonder, because he was battling away, but he finished in 10th. But he ran out of fuel. So he is just gliding down as he finishes closing lap to go back into the pits. But he has run out of fuel. But other than that, it's been a phenomenal race, with Levitius just choosing that strategy that works so well. 2 runs on the medium, then of course the soft, and then onto the hards to finish off with. But he managed to keep that lead all the way through, and another very, very well deserved victory for Levitius. A great performance by him.
Yeah, and Robin makes a great point. Get your votes for driver of the day. This one will be a hard one to call. I know Levitius did win the race, but there was some very, very good performances out there, and it was certainly a race that you couldn't really call until the very, very end, and even then there was still battles going on, and this is why SMA is one of the best leagues and championships that you'll ever find on GT7, because week by week there are always exciting races, there are always great battles, and I love being here, guys. I love being here. It's an absolute pleasure to commentate on, and I'm happy to tell you that I will be here for the rest of 2025 as well, to take you through the MSA Cup and future seasons as well. So, but congratulations to Levitius for the race victory, and let's show you now. So yeah, Levitius with the race victory, his 6th win of the season, 5th in a row, proving to be ever so dominant no matter what car he uses, which of course he's using the Nissan GTR. VSR JDJ though grabs an excellent 2nd position, ahead of his wheel issues at the start, wasn't it? So JDJ doing an excellent job in 2nd position, and I'm sure he'll be very, very happy with that. VSR Wolfie, his teammate, of course, finishing in 3rd, and that is his 2nd podium in a row. So I'm pretty sure Wolfie will be very happy with that one as well. 4th position going to VSR Galava Bryn. So it is a team of VSR 2, 3, and 4. Very, very good result for Galava as well. DK finishes in P5. Not sure if he's disappointed with that or not, but better than last week. Ahead of VSR Richard. It does look like them two seem to be fighting it out on a week-to-week basis. He finishes in 6th position, ahead of Puma Racing Neil in 7th, who I do believe has grabbed his best result of the season. 8th goes to Papaya Racer, with 9th going to TNR Whipperman, with 10th going to VSR Fish, and we're going with fish from now on. 11th goes to TNR captain Slow, who's had definitely a better week than last week, with Puma Racing Mac coming home in 12th position. Then in 13th position, we had TNR's Jewel Bear. And at the back of the grid, and unfortunately not finishing the race, was Kennels, hoping for better luck next time around. Dear. But Robin, definitely I would agree. Richard could have and maybe should have challenged for the first position, that is for sure. But just looking at your comments now, we're getting a few for JDJ as the driver of the day, which is nice to see. And obviously, maybe Robin, are you saying Richard as driver of the day? Who knows? But Hugh, I think it's time that we joined the waiting room to interview the podium finishers. So let's get ourselves in there and get the thoughts of the three drivers. So just bear with us 1 second. Okay, looks like we have got them in here. Okay.
Well done on a fantastic race.
Good evening, myself. Thank you very much.
Good evening to you, Wolfie. Congratulations on third position. How are you feeling after that?
Nah, just happy to be back in the interview. Means something went right for a change. So, well, very happy. It was a tough one, I would not lie. The guy, we had our elbows out. It wasn't easy, but very, very satisfied.
Yeah, we did see the elbows out. It was quite difficult to see, particularly with the GT7 camera angles, exactly what was happening there. Was it just hard racing between you drivers, or I don't want to comment on whether or not there was any misdemeanors or anything, but
no worries. No, it was a fun race, I must say. There was some hard racing. We knew that the GTR, from practice, the GTR was very strong on this track. We had some bad luck actually. VSR Richards' steering wheel disconnected close to the end of the race, and he got massive damage, and it messed up his race. He should have ended in my place in third position. The GTR was strong all week in practice. So we know we had our work cut out for us in the Honda, but I think it's a fair result, and we're happy with the way it ended.
Yeah, every week now, Wolfie, we can never call it really in terms of positioning and even strategy as well. And I was actually quite surprised to see most of your team to use the soft tyres, because I was pretty sure that it was going to be a medium hard strategy. But when I saw you guys go onto the soft tyres, was that like a risky strategy to do, or did you feel comfortable running on the softs?
No, we felt comfortable. We knew we had to do that because the GTR was just had too much pace in the straights on the mediums. It was very difficult to overtake with the Honda. So we had to come up with an alternative to make sure that we at least give ourselves an opportunity. So we looked after our mediums very nicely in the beginning of the race. Did a lot of fuel saving to go as far as possible so that we can make that soft stint also as short as possible and keep them alive. So it was a solid strat. That's the one that we practiced the whole week. So the result came out, and then we can't be happier. It was a good result overall for the VSR team.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Fantastic result for the VSR team. It certainly looks like the Honda is definitely a lot stronger in this second half of the season. You obviously look like you're a lot more comfortable as well, I think, more importantly. Just unfortunate, and thank you for confirming about Richard. We did get the replay. I thought it was a little bit strange to see him sort of take the penultimate corner and then just go straight into the wall rather than steer around it. So yeah, very unfortunate for him. But yeah, certainly congratulations to you, and you're certainly making a charge further up the grid now, starting to catch up with the drivers in front of you. So well done on that. And yes, Hugh, have you got any questions for Wolfie at all?
Yeah, what would you say was the biggest challenge out there? Because it was very close for us watching, with a lot of the battles with Slipstream, and how to keep that concentration. It was pretty impressive watching that. But what was it like being so close? I think sometimes we saw 2 or 3 wide going down that back straight.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking at the time because you had to judge your braking points to perfection to keep in that slipstream and not damage your tires and make sure that you don't hit those apexes too hard. So yeah, it was fun. It was nerve-wracking in the beginning to be so close to your teammates because a slight mistake you take your own people out of the race. So it was a challenge, but I think all ended well, and just happy to finish on the podium. And yeah, congratulations to Levi with yet another awesome race. Good strat, good pace, and also JD drove the whole race without force feedback. So I think we had some challenges, but we overcome it, and we're happy with the result. We'll move on to the next one.
No, a well-deserved third place. It was a great race.
Thank you.
Fantastic for us to watch, and well done for once again getting onto the podium. And fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Event for us all to watch, and well done.
Thank you so much. Let's hope I see you more often.
Yeah.
Let's hope so. We've definitely got our fingers crossed, and it's 2 in a row now in the interview room. So why not make it 3?
Yeah, momentum's there. Let's keep it going. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the stream. It's awesome to watch.
Thank you. We appreciate that, and good luck next week, and definitely look forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening, guys. Thanks for all the races.
You too. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. So, moving on to our second place finisher then. Great to see JDJ back in the interview room with an excellent performance. JDJ, how are you feeling after that?
I can't complain after what this whole race has done to me. I'm actually quite relieved and surprised to actually be on the podium. I didn't think it would happen on this one. But overall, I couldn't be happier. This is more than I expected, so it works for me.
Great to hear. Yeah, JDJ, I heard you had or you was experiencing a few wheel issues prior to the race. So tell us how that happened, basically, and also your kind of feelings going into the race, because I can imagine the anxiety would have been there for sure.
Yeah, so when entering the lobby, as I entered on the track, I felt that the steering wheel was extremely loose, no feedback, because I've got the G923 True Force Thrust Logitech steering wheel. And as I went onto the track, it was extremely loose and it didn't really respond. So I decided to restart the PlayStation, went in, it started working. One corner, the whole steering wheel just stopped. The car just went straight. So in the practice session, I was technically only restarting the PlayStation, trying to fix the issue I have on the steering wheel. And as soon as I entered right before start, I literally made it by the minute. I wasn't even sure if the steering wheel was going to work. I exited the pits for the qualifying. Car went straight, didn't want to turn. I plugged it out and I plugged it back in. It started responding, but there was no feedback. So I rode the whole race not even knowing I was on the track.
Oh, damn. Is that a Fanatec you're using?
Now I'm using a Logitech.
Oh, a Logitech. Right, okay. I have heard that a few people have been experiencing issues since the update. So, that's very, very unfortunate, to be honest. And fair play to you for driving without force feedback and bringing home a second position. I mean, that is absolutely fantastic. It shows you what you can really do. But in terms of like your strategy, kind of more like what I was saying to Wolfie, I was I wasn't sure about your strategy at first because I was kind of like, you're going onto the soft tyres. I didn't think that the softs were going to last. I thought maybe you was going to lose a little bit of time as the stint came to the end. But was you feeling comfortable?
Yeah, I felt quite comfortable with the soft. The real reason I put on the soft is because I knew I had a couple of back markers going to be in front with the different strategy where they go longer on the mediums and the hard stints. Unfortunately, it was also the rival team, TNR. So I wasn't sure if there was going to be like a tactic trying to defend and lose a bit of time. So when I went onto the soft, I knew I would reach them before the softs lose pace, which would have made it an easier overtake and then just manage till the end. Because I saw I had a gap. I was going to have a gap, between me, Levitius and myself and Wolfie. So putting on the soft, it was more like a pace in the beginning past them and just manage from there forward because I knew I wasn't going to have the win. I didn't want to push too much, not knowing how much tires I'm scrubbing and everything with the wheel giving trouble. So it was just to manage with the softs instead of the mediums and being held back because it's a bit more difficult to pass a GTR when it comes to the straight and everything on the mediums than what it would be on the softs.
Fair play. Yeah, it definitely worked out for you. I was going to say, you never know with Levitius. He might make a mistake one day, but no, honestly, apart from, getting the win, probably as perfect as it could have been for you. So fair play and congratulations on second position. Hugh, have you got any questions at all?
Yeah, well done for a great performance. To drive that without any force feedback is a real achievement. And JDG, you have the same wheel as me, so there are two of us who can now complain about our wheel and pedals and all the problems that it has. I've had all sorts of issues with it, and it's only a year old. But well done for overcoming that and finishing second in what was a very, very, very competitive race. And I thought for a while that when Levitius was coming out of the pits, I thought maybe it might be a smaller gap there, and you were taking off about half a second a lap. It was getting very, very close, but it was just, I think Levitius just had that little bit extra fuel and that little bit extra pace on those hard tyres, and the softs that you were on had just gone a little bit too far. But a great strategy though, and it's great to see you taking the race to Levitius and making it great to watch and great fun to commentate on. So well deserved second place, and maybe we'll see you again next week. But a fantastic effort there, and many congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Just a final question, really, JDJ. So from our observation, it does look like the NSX is pretty strong in the 2016 spec. So are you feeling confident for the rest of your season?
It's a much more competitive car than the 08s were, but I don't have high hopes of actually really taking the challenge forward because these next couple of races are top end and accelerating tracks. We've got the cornering, they've got the straight line. But it makes them much more difficult when you have a cornering car than a straight line because you'll always be able to pass on the straights with the GTR.
Yeah.
But you have to force and you have to wear tire and you have to push extra hard because you still have to make a gap in front of the GTR so it doesn't pass you on the next straight. But these, to me, I'm not sure. I think Levitis can give a bit more insight because I'm not on that often, so I only practice and race for the SMA series. But as far as I know, the next couple of tracks are suited better for the GTR than it is for the NSX, at least when it comes to pace.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I guess I haven't seen the details for the other races, of course. Of what I've been told, and it's quite obvious in qualifying. Certainly, like when the tyres are fresh, it does seem like the GTR is a little bit quicker. But I feel like with the tyre multipliers being a bit higher and you having to sort of use more tyre degradation, obviously manage your tyres a lot more, that's where you start coming back into the race and you start surging up the grid. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, JDJ. Stranger things do happen. People make mistakes, so you never know.
Of course, never say never. For
Exactly.
all we know, we are the stronger car, but I haven't tested the tracks yet, so we'll see when the next race comes if the steering wheel is working. Otherwise, I'll see you guys when the steering wheel is working.
Fingers crossed for next week and beyond that, of course. But great job on second position, and look forward to seeing you next week and maybe even speak to you as well.
100%. Thank you. I'm excited.
Us
too.
too.
Nice one.
Yep. Thank you very much, JDJ.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Nice day.
And last but not least, again, Levitius winning the race for the 6th time this season. Levitius, congratulations to you. How are you feeling after that?
To be honest with you, I don't know what to feel after the race. The race pace was very slow for the whole bunch of drivers that I was racing with. So honestly, I was just driving to my fuel. I didn't really focus on my pace per se, because I just knew that if we saved more fuel, we'll spend less time in the pits and then have a quicker race time. By the middle of the race, I was behind I think JDJ and Wolfie. I was like, they're going too slowly. I need to get past them. And there was some interesting tactics, but we'll see what the stewards think. And we got past them, and then we just basically pushed 100% with the fuel we had, and then we went 3 laps positive further into the race than I expected on my medium stint, because the Nissan's thirsty, a really thirsty car, really fast but really thirsty. So I was quite happy with how the race turned out. Honestly, just trying to use the other drivers around me to basically just give me some slipstream and save some fuel. I was hoping Richard would pass me at the beginning in the first stint, but didn't happen. And basically, I just did the whole race to my fuel, my fuel gauge, and the rest was it, really.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely an interesting race for you, Lev, because I wasn't expecting it to be so close in that sort of first half of the race, really, maybe through stint 1, 2. Literally, I think it was the top 7. It was like 3 seconds difference or something for probably the first 15 laps or whatever it was. It was quite a long time. Not to put you under pressure, you're probably not listening to me anyway. You're probably in full concentration mode. But I was kind of like, I wonder if Levitius will succumb to this pressure or not, because he's probably not used to being in this position with it being so close for so many laps. But I was going to ask them, because VSR said that basically they felt quite comfortable on the soft tyres. Was you actually surprised to see them use the soft tyres?
To be honest, yes and no, but the thing is though, right, the NSX is a very different car compared to the GTR, the way you extract time out of it. And just also to comment on the beginning of the race, once I knew Dicky spun out, there was almost no point trying to pull away from Richard and Co, because they were in my slipstream, and it's very difficult to break the slipstream unless you really use a lot of fuel, which wasn't what I wanted to do at the beginning of the race. So I rather bunched everyone back together. I was driving probably half a second to maybe 0.7 of a second slower than I wanted to by just saving fuel on the straights, which gave me almost 3 laps extra fuel for the first stint. So I was supposed to only do 12 laps, but I think I did 14, almost 15. I'm not sure. I was just driving to the fuel, and what was your question again? Sorry.
Was you surprised to see the VSR drivers go onto the soft tyres?
Yes. Yeah. The thing is, the softs are decent. This was a fuel race, so I could see them working. But the thing is, the softs overheat so quickly that it doesn't actually give you the performance advantage you get from using mediums, which were a bit more durable, and they didn't overheat as easily because you're not going as fast through the corners. So overall, I think it was just better to use the harder compounds and go faster throughout the race than go faster for a segment and use the hards for longer. Yeah, it's basically the same thing I always do, just trying to use the harder tires most of the time.
When you said about saving fuel, was you doing a lot of the fuel mapping, or was it a lot of the
extreme?
That was the extra, was it? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was just basically short shifting extremely quickly on the straights, and then when I reached the end of the 6th gear, which is an incredibly annoying aspect of the GTR, but it's a small price to pay for the pace we get out of it. That we have to basically just get into fuel mode 6 by the end of the straight because you don't want to burn the fuel too much in that car. Yeah.
Okay, fair play. Yeah, it was. Obviously, we can't see that, but obviously, when you just said that you was getting sort of like 14, 15 laps or whatever on the a tank of fuel, I was like, wow, that would have been some extreme fuel saving there. So fair play, you made it work, Levitius, as you always do. Almost getting fed up of mentioning it, but no, honestly, just a faultless display yet again. Hugh, have you got any questions for our race winner?
Yeah, it's a fantastic strategy. It was very close at the front, and we saw as you were battling out there in first place when you were being hounded by those Hondas in the first few laps, but you managed to just keep that gap enough ahead, and then eventually with Richard going off, that kind of brought it to you in a way. But did you think as well as you came in for your last pit stop that you would be that far ahead from JDJ, because it was about 7.5 seconds? I thought it might be a bit less than that, but were you thinking, yes, that's yours now, you should have a safe gap to be able to finish the race?
To be honest with you, nothing really went to plan this race. It went above and beyond. So I was basically just saying it's 25 seconds of a gap, and I knew that I only had to fuel myself for 3 laps. So I knew that my pit stops would be a lot shorter, but I don't know how much shorter. So it was basically just a roll of the dice. I was hoping that I'll come out ahead. Because I never really expected to be boxing on lap 27. I was boxing usually on like lap 25-ish, usually my practice. Yeah, that's it. I'm just happy how it turned out, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, a brilliant race. You're really showing us how to do it with the strategy, and you seem to be able to keep calm, keep everything focused, and keep it all working, and finishing ahead. So many congratulations on another excellent victory, and you're really kind of sailing away with the title. So well done, and we look forward to seeing you in the race next week. But a well-deserved victory. Many congratulations.
Thanks, Hugh.
Yeah, last question for me, Lev. So yeah. You've mentioned Spa is coming up, so spoilers. But so with that circuit, do you kind of agree with what the VSR drivers mentioned about the GTR being stronger there because of the fast nature of the circuit?
To be honest with you, yes. The thing is, in qualifying, the GTR is a monster. I love it. It's amazing. But the aspect in the race is just the fuel economy is very bad when you reach the end of the 6th gear, and especially at Spa when you've got 2 long straights, Sector 1 and Sector 3, it's going to be terrible for fuel saving. So the NSX can accelerate to like 310 kilometers an hour in its final gear. Ours is stuck at 295. So if we get embroiled into a battle, or there's a bit more of a fuel strategy in the race again, it's going to be tough to try and make the difference, because you can't do anything to your car when you're going in a straight line. You just have to be there, and just drive through it. So it's going to be interesting. Probably another fuel race again coming up, and I guess we'll just have to see what happens.
Yes, we will indeed. We will indeed. Yeah. Well, as I said, this it's one of my favourite circuits, Spa. It always brings out the best of racing. So you never know what happens on the day, and I'm sure there'll be all types of different dynamics happening in that race for sure. So good luck to you next week, Levitius. Congratulations, of course, on the race victory for the 6th time this season. And just celebrate, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lev. Take care, mate.
Take care.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
Right, okay, so that rounds up the interviews for the podiums. Quite a lot of interesting thoughts from the drivers there, and it shows what I know then, eh? I did a little bit of testing, and I thought they were certain to be all on the same strap, but this is what we do come to expect from SMA. Difference of opinions, difference of strategies, trying to take the fight to all the drivers, and we can't complain, because we see so many fantastic battles on circuit, and it's very exciting for us in the commentary booth as well as the viewers watching as well. Let's have a look then on the track for next week. Well, we've kind of spoilt it already, but let's take a look anyways. So next race is at Spa-de-Francorchamps, and it kind of looks like an Uzi, doesn't it, that track layout actually? It's one of the most famous circuits on the calendar, particularly those that are in their into their F1, which is pretty much everyone. But you know, what are your thoughts, Hugh?
Oh, I mean, yeah, Spa is a great track. Lots of great points for overtaking. Big stops at the end of the straights. So I think we could see some really good moves right the way up and down the field. It's going to be close. I know they're saying that the Nissan might be the car to have, but that Honda's been getting closer and closer. And I think it's yes, we're getting towards the end of the title, but it's still all to play for. These drivers are getting closer. JDG had a good run in it today. Richard was very unlucky not to be able to be to be so close and then have that issue with his wheel later on. So I think Spa could be a great equaliser, and nothing is for certain in motorsport, and certainly not in this championship. It's still all to play for, and the videos is showing how to do it without doubt. But the others are getting there, and they're trying everything they can, all sorts of different strategies to try and beat him. So I'm sure eventually they will get there, but it's exciting to watch as they try to do it.
Indeed. Well, make sure you do pay close attention to the SMA Discord for all the race details, and then tune in next week for race 9 in the GT500 Championship on the Sim Motorsport Association YouTube channel, of course. Monday the 7th of April, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Africa time, to see how this one plays out. And also as well, make sure you follow our socials to keep up to date with everything on SMA, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Discord, which is now over 170 members strong, I do believe. And of course, our live platform, YouTube. Make sure, if you are new to the channel and you've enjoyed this broadcast, make sure you do smash that subscribe button. Hit that like button as well. Help out on the YouTube algorithm. Very, very important, whether or not you're watching live or watching from the recording. We really want to build this channel as much as possible, and we would hugely appreciate it. Also as well, if you are new to the channel, do make sure you hit that bell as well, so you don't miss a single bit of racing action. Also as well, if you want to get involved in these leagues and you are from South Africa, then it's very important that you join our Discord. I do believe the description, or the link, will be in the description below, sorry. So do make sure you go and check that out. And also, big shout out to the SMA admin crew as well for their tireless work in the background, keeping this league running like clockwork and in ship-shape fashion, as they probably don't get enough credit in keeping everyone organised and, of course, helping out the drivers when they're in need of help. As also to the race director as well for planning and staging these awesome races for our viewing pleasure. And also as well, we have got the upcoming MSA Championship happening in the next month, and we are still looking for sign-ups. Actually, Robin, you may have to confirm with me whether or not this sign-ups is actually open, but for those that don't know what this is, basically there is a huge opportunity for those competing in SMA to register for a pro license or an e-license at a very affordable price, and it is to be involved in future FIA licensed events, including, as I mentioned, the MSA Cup tournament, and many regional and international championships coming in the near future. because this will be a great honour and privilege for the drivers to compete at the very highest level and earn your Springboks colours, providing that full recognition and representing your country. So make sure you don't pass up on this opportunity and register for this pro license, which is either coming soon or it's open. Let me just quickly look on the chat. It's happening next week. Thank you, Robin. Thank you. Okay, so it'll be happening from next week. So make sure you are prepared and get yourselves signed up next week. And moving on to the Quali Kings as well. And this is an opportunity for those that love doing their time trialing. This is SMA's version of like the GT7 daily race time trials for South Africa, of course, competing against the whole of the SMA community. And it doesn't matter whether or not you are a top driver in the top split or you're just sort of starting out in the game and learning. This is a great way to interact, get tips from the drivers, and obviously see where you rank amongst all of South Africa on a week-to-week basis. So do check out the SMA Discord, get yourself involved. This week actually happens to be Grand Valley Highway, in the newly released BOP change to the Group 3 cars. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what car you'll use, whether there is a meta car or maybe the Group 3 cars are a little bit more balanced now, because I have heard reports that there's quite a few cars that you can use now with so many changes in the manufacturers. So yeah, definitely get yourselves involved, and would love to see you on the leaderboards and how you fare on a week-to-week basis, but particularly this week at Grand Valley. So back to us then, Hugh, and yeah, absolutely fantastic week of racing we've had here. Trial Mountain never fails to disappoint. I have to ask though, Hugh, what are your thoughts and also your driver of the day?
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, Levitius had a fantastic victory, and again, his strategy just is proving to be brilliant. But it was great to see JDG up there, using that alternative strategy, getting into second place. It was pretty good. But also Deacon, who had that terrible start, had that issue and spun off, but to get back up to fifth. So there are a few drivers who could almost be in it, but I think I'm going to give it to JDJ this week, who I think did a very, very good race, and it was great to see him finish second, and get pretty close to Levitius there. It looked like it might be a race at the end of it, but certainly not far away. But very excited to watch, great to commentate on, and very much looking forward to Spa next week as it continues. And will we see any changes? Will the Hondas finally take victory, or will that Nissan continue to reign supreme? It's going to be great fun finding out. And this week I'm very excited as well, because I'm getting a new steering wheel and pedals. I've got a Thrustmaster T598 coming on Thursday, so I'll be streaming with that later on Thursday. Hopefully, if it comes on time, I'm hoping it will. But yeah, it's great to be watching and commentating on sim racing, and also doing a bit as well.
Indeed, yeah, and this will be your first DD wheel as well, isn't it, Hugh? So, so it's going to be interesting to see if you do improve on it, and I'd love to get your feedback on well, maybe not on the first day. They do say that it takes a while to get used to it, but yeah, certainly it'll be nice to get your feedback on your thoughts on, obviously buying more expensive and more technically advanced hardware. Yeah,
and I felt for was it JD, the one with the 923? You had the 923 wheel, because that's the same as me. And it has a lot of problems, a lot of unreliability. But the fact he did that race without any force feedback, that was huge. Yeah. But for me, certainly going into a direct drive wheel, I can't wait, because also it's got really good pedals with proper springs, so hopefully we'll get a lot more feel. So now I'm the man with all the gear, but no idea. We'll see how we get on Thursday. No doubt my viewers will judge me on that one. But looking forward to getting back in. I've got no wheel in front of me tonight when I've been doing the commentary. I only have my steering wheel in front of me. So I can't wait to get back into it. And of course, you are doing your streams. Are you on Twitch?
Yes, so I keep saying it every week. I'm making my comeback. But I've been very, very busy because it was great to see Parquet actually come in to chat because, of course, I'm quite busy with commentary at the moment. Obviously, SMA keep me very busy as it is on a week-to-week basis. But I'm also commentating on the NRL, which is stands for Naughty Racing League. It's basically McNaughty on YouTube, and he does an absolute fantastic job in hosting these sort of tournaments. It's basically a 5-week tournament, paid entry as well, and there's a huge pot for the drivers at the end of the 5 weeks, but it's split into 2 days. So we have racing on the Friday, racing on the Saturday. At the moment, the drivers are in the group stage, so they have 3 races. These are random combos, though. So it's not like a set group car. It could be literally anything. It could be I've forgotten what that meme car is. The one that recently come out. Is it the Unimog?
Is it the Unimog? Yeah, Unimog. Yeah.
It could be the Unimog. Like a rally track or something, or we could be at Lake Louise, or it could be Group 1s at Monza, which actually is one of the races. It's an interesting dynamic because the drivers don't learn of the next combo until at the end of the broadcast. So they do their races, and then at the end of the broadcast they get the combo, and then they've got that week to basically prepare for it. So it is certainly very, very interesting, and definitely worth checking out. If you don't already know McNaughty, he is on YouTube, so definitely go and check him out. I do the commentary on the Saturdays, and there's a guy called T-Case with me, and Tatiana as well with me. And then on Fridays we have the awesome trio of Toon, T-Case and Slow-Mo that do an equally fantastic job on the commentary for Fridays. But in terms of myself though, I'm hoping to be back soon. Of course, April is upon us, isn't it? And it's been a while since I streamed, and I really do want to get back to it. So I'm hoping to be back in the next couple of days. So just getting the final kind of preparations done and stuff. But yeah, you can definitely go check out Hugh Hatrick, though. You can see our links in front of you. So go check out Hugh Hatrick on YouTube. I'm on the Twitch side, so I don't know if that offends anyone. But I'm on Twitch at Flawed Genius Gaming. If you do want to check me out, it'll be much, much appreciated. Hugh, it's been a fantastic day today. I've absolutely loved the race. I forgot to mention that maybe my driver of the day will be VSR Richard. And the only reason I say that, maybe a little bit out of sympathy, because the problems he had, obviously wasn't his fault, but for most of the race, I felt like he really took the fight to Levitius, and he could have been challenging for the race victory. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. But I think maybe I'm going to give it to him, because it was awesome to see such great pace from Richard, and a little bit disappointed that I didn't get to interview him today, but I'm sure we'll hear from him in the weeks to come. But I've got to say big thank you to everyone that's tuned in today, though, and just looking back on your comments as well, it does look like a lot of the people have voted for JDJ, and unlucky to Kennels as well, of course, having his issues as well, and thank you for the kind compliments as well. It really means a lot to myself and Hugh.
that.
we're hoping people can stand us, and and you know, we can provide the best racing action to you, and do justice to the drivers that you can see in front of you. So no, it really means a lot. But yeah, Hugh, thank you so much for joining me, as I said, and yeah, we definitely look forward to next week. But yeah, really appreciate you, Hugh, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, thanks very much, Sean. It's been a pleasure to commentate again on this wonderful championship, and I can't wait for Spa and to see if there will be any surprises. Never know. I think there might well be, but it'll be a great race, I'm sure. But have a fantastic week, and to everyone who's been watching as well, have a great week. Lots of racing. Drive fast and try not to crash. And we'll see you all next week.
So it was once again Levitius who reigned supreme. Can anyone halt him in his tracks? Definitely tune in to find out next week. Same place, same time, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Africa time on Monday, the 7th of April. But until then, it's a good night from Hugh.
Good night.
And it's a good night from me. Yes, thank you, Hugh. Stay safe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.